The chapter starts and 3 of our boys' skeletons get incinerated and roasted up like they're at a barbecue, and we see more of course, the hell comets begin to launch down on his army, and he says, as expected, a level 50 mage is able to destroy his skeleton warriors. But then we see somebody cover them with his wings, and yup, it is the undead general from the level 50 hell difficulty dungeon. And of course, the guy watching says, the soul of a hell difficulty dungeon's boss? To think that this necromancer had that kind of skill. And they all pop up some bubbles and they use group defense, but that's pretty much some plastic bubbles in front of like a flamethrower. And we see our MC's undead hell summon. Oh my gosh, he jumps up in the air and he's about to let out one of his super attacks. Slice, we then see he attacks the shield, and the girl mentions, what the heck? Don't panic, it's not like our party can't clear the hell difficulties dungeon anyway, right? He says, yeah, this is an outpost guardian, I'm pretty sure. But then we see slumbering cloud, and of course it begins to rain on our MC skeletons. And no guys, don't worry, they are not depressed or sad. It seems like they are going to get a buff. We then see the other general and he uses military prowess, and oh my gosh, look at the looks of their eyes, their pupils dilated. They're ready to go freaking insane in this battle. We then see the outpost guardian and he lets out a screech, and this guy says, what the heck? His slumbering cloud was cleansed? Oh my gosh, he then thrusts towards the enemies, and yup, their defenses cannot hold. We then see the wolf and it shouts out and gives a howl like he's a Sigma, and he uses skill reset, and it seems like their group defense is up once more. And our MC says, what the heck? That skill reset's cooldown is so ridiculous, and he has to deal with this person first. We then see the holy mage and we hear, try attacking the main person this time, and they're going to try and attack our MC, but yeah, that's not going to work with our MC's infinity on. He then wonders if his skeleton armor can resist all these attacks from a level 50, and so he says, just barely, his spirit is abundant, so he can constantly cast his skeleton armor skill. We then see something start to happen below him, and it is a swamp, and he mentions that is a shadow mage's skill, and oh my gosh, he then lets out some of his skeletons to protect him, and it seems like they're ready to sail the seas. And yeah, this is a pretty funny pose by him. Anyway, one of the guy mentions, what the heck, that weird defense skill active. Our control skills have no effect on him, and he can't even be trapped by the swamp. And of course, we then see them begin to go at each other once again, and the lady, or the woman who is OP like Guts, says, quickly, her defense is going to shatter, so reset my skill. The lady is absolutely in panic, this shadow summoner. She says, wait, that's too fast, my summoner beast needs to rest as well. And look at this little fox, like it's literally just taking a nap mid-battle. And oh my gosh, there is no time to wait. Our boy's undead outpost summon just literally smashes past her defense and it shatters. And she says, oh, hold up guys, don't get any ideas, but she says, what the heck, even the skill cooldown reset couldn't catch up. And she says that his skeletons are way fiercer than they were in the 5th round. We then see a horde approaching, and this holy mage begins to use fiery ring of resistance like he did previously, or the other guy used previously, and then this girl uses the firewall, and this looks like a literal tsunami starting to erode, and we see that his skeletons are getting pushed back a bit, but something begins to shine in the sky, and of course it is the skill cooldown, and they're of course getting reflected upon by this blue light, and they use group defense. And the lady smiles, saying, if we can only chip away at his health, that's all we need. And she really thinks this is like League of Legends. However, our woman or our girl literally freezes on, oh my gosh, we hear, you're gonna grind me to death? Hold up. And anyway, our MC is just standing there with his hands in the pocket, and the skeletons are like, bro, they really thought they could harm our master? And she says he used skill casting window to barge into the space. What the heck? She then says, how can a mage like you get so close? He then uses his chain attack like his Karapika, and now they're all bound by his chains, and he says my curse will definitely not stop them, but it will buy me time. We then see 2 of his skeletons, it's like me and bro, and of course they start to charge towards him, and they slash this wolf, rage strike, and it is over. He then begins to use corpse explosion, and our boy is starting to look like a villain in the eyes of the people there, and yeah, this definitely is not going to end well for them. Our MC then gives him a wrist stare, and of course he says, now I should have the upper hand. And we then see he uses corpse explosion and wadoosh, and one of the guys says, what type of skill is this? And everybody in the crowd is literally being gusted by the wind, and we hear, what just happened? Did something explode? And we then see mist begin to come above from the rubble, and we see that the lady is the only one standing, and she mentions that her shield was literally shattered in a moment's notice. We then see as she looks to the side, I'm the only one left, And well, you know, looking down on her is our boy's strongest summon, as well as a whole army of skeletons, and she then says this competition is really something, and she literally gives a thumbs up as she's literally bruised and injured, and she still smiles, saying, "You're OP, with a young guy like you, she has nothing to worry about for the future." She then hops out of there like she's the Flash trying to get home and eat a McBurger or something, and Lin Mo Yu wins, and yup, Jiang Tao Tao and Ning Yi Yi are super happy as they cheer on for our boy. Everybody yells out in excitement, "This fight is one for the history books for sure." And we then see the elder floating, and he says, here, come take your rewards. Of course, our MC bows down and says, "Thank you, elder." And he says, "I wonder if there'll be a 6th round." And he says, "Will I be able to pass it?" But just at that second, he gets a notification from Lord Bai Shen. And of course, he says, just keep it well and don't push your fortune. Anyway, we then see Lin Mo Yu look back, and he says, "What the heck is this? What's the matter, elder?" Because the elder called for him all of a sudden. He introduces himself as Jin Peng, and he is one of Shenxia Empire's 12 council members. And he says, "What the heck? It really is one of the 12 members of the empire." Lin Mo Yu then says, "What's the matter?" And he pretty much says, "I just so happen to be an adjunct lecturer at the Xiajing Academy that he wants to go in." And so he says, "I'd like to take you on as a student, if that's your will." Jiang Tao Tao then says, "What the heck? He'd really want to take Lin Mo Yu on as a disciple?" But our MC is one loyal guy, and he just bows down saying, "I really appreciate your kindness, teacher, but I already have a teacher, dude." He says, "Who the heck is it?" And he then gets a ring on his phone, and he says, "As a matter of fact, it's a message from my teacher." And of course, Jin Peng says, "Come on, let me see who's stealing one of my students." We then see it is Lord Bai, and he says, "Oh, little Peng, I heard you're trying to poach my students." And oh my guys, look at our boy's expression. He's just like, "What the heck, I just got caught in 4K Ultra HD again." And he says, "Oh," and he apologizes instantly. "I had no idea it was Liu Yu, Lord Bai Shen." And he says, "Little Lin is my student, so don't get any ideas." Lord Bai then says, "I won't take up any more of the time. Since the competition's over, get your whole group over here. Old Meng and I have something to discuss." He says, "I'm sure you know what it is." And so Jin Peng then mentions, "After the competition, I will bring them over to see you and Lord Meng." And of course, our boy then gets a message from Lord Bai, and he says, "Little Lin, you've done well, but come back as soon as you can, because he has a new task." And our MC says, "Yes, sir." And of course, we then see the 4 of them, and it is time to go back to the Shenxia Academy, and this is definitely a fun arc, and it's going to be nice how our boy just returns as a super OP dude with definitely a high reputation now. We then see him at the dormitory, and he's literally just meditating on his bed. And he then begins to use a chug jug or a mini potion. Just kidding, this isn't Fortnite. And we then see Lin Mo Yu, the only one who is a necromancer. His level is only level 27, what the heck still? But his strength has gone up by 200. His physique and agility and spirit also have gone up by 200. And wow, our boy's spirit is literally so high compared to the rest of his stats. And look at our boy, look at his aura. This guy is definitely the ultimate aura guy on the world. Like, this aura is so beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, it looks a bit better than Sung Jin Woo's, but hey, don't come at me for that. We then see our boy Lin Mo Yu then offers Lord Bai a cup of soup, and of course, Lord Bai says, "You did well today." And Bang Anwen then mentions, "Wow, how do you mean he did well? You're much stronger than your teacher Bai back in the day. He could only pass 3 rounds." And of course, Lord Bai says, "What the heck are you saying?" He then coughs and says, "You gotta go to the duplicate hall and level up to level 30, and I'll bring you somewhere after that." He says, "What? The dungeon hall?" Of course, Lord Bai mentions, "Wait, you should stay in the academy for a few days," because Lin Mo Yu mentions, "Well, wouldn't going to the arena be faster and it'll be easier to practice?" And Lord Bai mentions, "You've done too well, so you're going to be watched by other people." Lord Bai then says, "These few years, many prodigies have literally been assassinated in the empire, so you must be careful, and the academy is the only safe place." And Lin Mo Yu, of course, agrees. We then see him walk towards the sunset or the cloud place. Where are these guys even? Are they literally like in a floating cloud? And Meng Anwen wonders where he's bringing him, and he then says, "I'm going to bring him to the dungeon." And then of course Meng Anwen is kind of concerned if it'll be dangerous, but Lord Bai just reasons that the earlier the better, because that's how he's going to be considered a professional. Lord Bai then smiles and he says he's much stronger than you or I could have expected, and so as long as the Spirit Temple's mark stays, he can revive even if he does die, which is definitely OP. And our MC says to himself, "The dungeon hall, huh?" And it looks like our boy hasn't been here in a while, and yup, he's going to definitely have some fun clearing the dungeons and setting new records. Everybody cheers saying, "Let's go! Lin Mo Yu is back, dude! Did you know that he reached the 5th round of the challenge match?" And he mentions, "To think I grinded with a dungeon with such a legendary figure," he says, "that makes me so excited." And yeah, bro, he doesn't know you. But anyway, we then see everybody is so happy, and he says, "Come on, you paid him to get points to carry you in dungeons, that's all." And yeah, that guy got caught in 4K. Anyway, our boy Lin Mo Yu then says, "Lord Bai is right, a lot of attention has been drawn to me." And he then sees the lady who helped him before, and she is surprised to see him back. And she then says very cutely, "Which dungeon do you want to farm this time?" And yeah, our boy is definitely not falling for her riz, although, well, it is kind of strong, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know about you guys. Anyway, she says, "Do you want my recommendations? It's so cheap." And of course, our MC then sends her 100 points, which is a lot, and she says, "You're so generous," and she gives a thumbs up, and we are ready to go. We then arrive at the Fire Deity Palace, and look at this nether portal right here. It looks as eerily and menacing as ever, and this is the Fire Deity Palace, which is a level 32 dungeon, and there's only 2 difficulties, the normal and the nightmare. The entry requirements are 27 to 37, it costs 500 points, and the cooldown is 120 hours. I'm guessing that's around like 5 days, and the removal cooldown cost is 2,500 points, and the record is 8 hours and 30 minutes, but our MC might get it in probably 32 minutes, or even 15 seconds, but just kidding, guys. But anyway, our MC mentions that it looks like a very ordinary dungeon, so why is the record 8 hours? And the girl then mentions, "Did you realize it too? This dungeon's clear is so long, and this one chooses the dungeon as well, and no one chooses this dungeon as well." She says, "Well, because it is actually one of the 5 elemental dungeons." Oh, hold up, what's happening? We find out that apart from the 4 commonly known elements, such as wind, water, fire, and electricity, there are actually one more element, the light element. And oh my gosh, every element has a corresponding elemental dungeon, and if he is fortunate, it'll drop a fragment. And our MC wonders, "Wait, what do you get after collecting all 5 elements or fragments of them?" She says, "I'm not sure either, but she did hear that you'll receive benefits that you can't even imagine." Our MC then begins to get curious, and he says, "Are the rest of the elemental dungeons like here as well?" She then explains that the 37 water elemental dungeon, only level 32 can enter, the 42 wind one, well, only level 37s can enter, and although he can't enter them right now, the fire and light elemental dungeons are not there, so he has to find them on his own. He then thanks her, and she says, "No need to thank me," because yeah, our boy just gave her the riz of a lifetime. Just kidding, but you know, 100 points is a lot. Last time he gave her like 10 or something. He then chooses nightmare difficulty because there is no hell difficulty, and yup, our boy is spawned inside this lava pit, and he says, "It looks like I will constantly receive fire damage." And so he puts on his skeleton armor, and for some reason, guys, it became the color green. Is this because of the, I don't know, maybe because red makes it green? I don't know, I don't really know. But we find out that if you didn't bring 2 healers here, it would be very difficult to even take another step forward as we see the boiling lava. He then spots 2 creatures in the distance, and these are fire elves, and they are enhanced elite monsters, level 32 with strength of 10,000, agility 3k, spirit 4k, constitution 10k, and well, the trait is pretty much fire elemental damage immunity, and they only receive 50% of physical damage, and this is going to be quite hard for an MC. Just kidding. Anyway, our MC then mentions that it is the same as the elemental secret realm, so he can't use corpse explosion, but just at that second something tries to hit him, but our MC's armor dodged it or blocked it, and he brought out 2 of his skeletons. He then brings out 3 more to go and attack this fire elf, and yup, they slash it in half. The body gets incinerated, he gains 640,000 XP, and he receives a fire crystal core, which is pretty interesting. And he says though, as expected, there are no corpses. We then see his skeletons go out to scout their terrain as he commands them, and he says, "What the heck? There's physical monsters here too." And so he'll be able to use corpse explosion as we see this kind of cute looking dragon lizard thing, but yeah, don't be deceived, guys. He then brings out his skeletons, and he says, "Come lure those monsters here," and he's literally training these zombies like it's Call of Duty. And yup, we then see a snake and some other creatures, and they are all headed towards our skeletons, who are headed towards our MC. He then uses slow curse, and we see one of the lizards literally bound up in chains, and of course he then uses rage strike. His skeleton uses rage strike and corpse explosion, and in skadoosh, it's exactly what happened, and he looks down from it from a cliff, and our MC says, "Let's continue." And our MC is just too cool, guys. Everybody is quite concerned because they say, "Why is the Fire Deity Palace spewing fire?" And we then see the portal, and outside of it some sort of magma is coming out, and we see that there is a 3rd difficulty, which is the hell difficulty, that is appearing. And they say, "Wait, what the heck? Why the heck is there a hell difficulty in the Fire Deity Palace?" And oh my gosh, our MC is out here creating difficulties. Literally. Comment down nightmare if you guys made it all the way till the end. Make sure to also watch these other recaps. I'm sure you will enjoy it. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next video.